Well, I think we are on board. Hello, can anybody see me or hear me or anything like that? Please let me know I'm not on my own. Is there anybody out there? Who can I see in the chat so far? I can see Beatrice and Leslie and Wendy and David and Rosemary and Emma and Susan and Laurie and Tish. Hello, Tish. And who else can I see? Anne, did I see in there? I thought I did, but I might not. You all chat too much for me. Hello to all of you. Chris, did I see Chris there? Hello, Chris. Ah, yes, hi, Chris. Don't know whether Chris and Liz is with you as well. If it's just Chris or just Liz, I don't know. I don't know how the division of internet accounts works in the Bramwell household. I don't even know how it works in my own household. So what chance do I stand with everyone else's? Hello to everybody. Can you all see me? Hello, Sam. How are you? Wow, not seen you for a long time. Well, thank you, Tish. It's one of my summery shirts that I've been making good use of because we've had a lovely summer. And I thought, you know what? I'm doing a seaside tour. I'm going to give it another outing before we have to start thinking about these cooler temperatures and coming towards autumn. So I thought, you know what? Give the old summery shirt as many outings as you can while you can. Hello, Deirdre. Hello, nice to see you. Hello, Andrew. Good to see everybody. I saw Beatrice there in the chat. I don't know if I said hello, Beatrice, already. Hello, Satyam. Hello, Dawn. Nice to see you. Great to see everybody today. And anybody else who's not in the chat, because it's not compulsory to participate in the chat, but feel free to stick a comment in there, say hello or whatever you want to do. Well, I mean, within reason, in the chat. Hi, Beatrice. Lovely to see you, and great to have everybody here today. Wendy and David, are you in Italy? I thought you were going to Italy, but maybe you haven't gone yet. Maybe you've come back already. Maybe you're there. I don't know. Hello, Emma. Hello, Jessie as well. We've always got some four-legged viewers as well. A few of those. Ah, you're going on Sunday? Well, okay. Have a fantastic time then. Beatrice, it's been quite warm. It's been about 19, 20 degrees this afternoon. We had a little bit of rain this morning, which wasn't forecast, but just for a few minutes. Some quite grey or black clouds overhead at the moment, but nobody has been forecasting any rain, so we have fingers crossed that we don't get any. I don't have an umbrella with me. I don't have a coat or hat with me as I'm walking around here, so there's one thing that's for sure going to happen if it rains, and that's that I'm going to get wet. A little spots maybe in the air, we'll see. But it's been pretty nice here. This afternoon was very pleasant. Leslie, yeah, here too. Once that little bit of rain passed, it was absolutely gorgeous. Claire, oh hi Claire. I don't know whether I said hello to you or not. Rain's wow, that's right. You know, it's yeah, we would expect it, but we did have a little bit of rain already, so. Well, that sounds better, Beatrice. No, I've tempted fate. You know, we've had such a hot and dry summer. It almost feels like now when you get a little bit of rain, it's almost quite, oh, this is quite pleasant, you know. Hi, Tracy. Yeah, I know. Rosemary, moved over to your laptop. Oh, I hope that has improved whatever you needed improving. I don't know, but yeah, I've not moved over to my laptop. It'd be carrying it around town would be a bit strange. You'd need a big gimbal to put a laptop on. Oh, you're going back to Bolton next week? Oh, lovely, Leslie. Well, hopefully the weather will be nice for you, and hopefully I'm thinking it might not be too busy because you know, now as school holidays and everything's over, it's tourist season starting to wind down a little bit, so hello Tricia, you made it, that's good to see. So, oh, it's nearly time to make a start, so I think I should do that very thing. Beatrice, you're baptising a tram. Do they dip it in the limmat, or what do they do? Like in a crane and dip it in the river or the lake, or throw some nice local wine over it to baptise it. I don't know. So anyway, a big warm welcome to everyone this afternoon. It is just turned 5 p.m. here, so I am delighted to have you here with me wherever you are joining from. I will say a big croeso, which is the Welsh for welcome, and I will also say Prynawn da, which means good afternoon, and if you're a little bit ahead of us in time, Noswaith da, which means good evening, and if you're a few hours behind us, then I will say, or a lot of hours in front of us, I will say Bore da, good morning to you all, and welcome to Llandudno in North Wales. So we are pretty much, if you conjure up in your mind a map of the UK and you think of Wales over there on the west, we're on pretty much the northwestern, right up towards the northwestern tip of Wales here in Llandudno. And what does Llandudno mean, this very typically Welsh name? Well, it means the parish church of St Tudno. So St Tudno was a local Welsh saint in this area, and the first parish church that was here was dedicated to St Tudno, and so the town that grew up around it went by that name as well. Wherever you see this name in a Welsh place name, Llan, L-A-N, at the beginning, that means that the town is named after the church that was there. So that's what the town name means. And I'm delighted that you've all been able to join me here, and that we are able to do this tour, this community funded tour. A massive thanks to everybody who contributed to this particular tour to make it possible, and your contributions are much appreciated. And don't forget that if you want to support the future community funded tours, we do have a couple of them on the website at the moment. The pots are still filling up. We've got another Cotswolds one in Chipping Norton, and we've also got the town of Southall in Nottinghamshire as well. So the links for those will go up in the chat at the end, and that's where you go to contribute to the next community funded tours. So without further ado, let's turn that camera around, and there goes Beatrice already with the link. Thank you, Beatrice, you're way ahead of us all there. Flip camera, that's the one. So I am on really the main shopping street of the town here, and the important thing to remember about Llandudno is that it is a resort town. It was developed deliberately as a resort town in the 19th century. So sea bathing had become very popular around that time, and whereas previously spa towns like Bath and Harrogate and Cheltenham and these other places like Buxton, they'd been the height of fashion for people. That kind of was taken over by sea bathing. Sea bathing was all the rage, and so along various parts of our coast, of which we are of course in the UK as an island blessed with plenty, people started to develop resort towns, and so some of these tiny little villages around the coast turned from fishing villages and so on into resort towns, and that's exactly what this town grew up as. In fact, there was a fishing village here, but there was also a mining village, because ahead of me, straight along the street, you can see the huge hill, houses rising up the hill there. That's called the Great Orme, and the Great Orme is a limestone outcrop here, and that has ancient copper mines in it, and there was a copper mining community here as well before there was ever a resort. But the resort was developed in the 19th century on land here along the coast that mostly belonged to a very wealthy aristocratic family from the area, the Mostyn family. And the main street that I'm standing on, the main shopping street, is called Mostyn Street. Now, they developed the town, they developed it for visitors, but of course a lot of investment also went into it. And we're starting here in front of, I started sitting on the bench just in front of the Llandudno Public Library, which was opened in 1881, and the current building then was it was extended and remodelled in 1910. And they have got the some lovely architecture here. So the Mostyn family, you know, that name Mostyn comes up a lot because they were great benefactors. The family still owns a lot of land around here. The Mostyn estates still own pretty much most of the Great Orme and all of the stuff up there, and various properties around the town. But this is a very typical resort high street, and one of the things that was very common, you will see it, we see it in Buxton, I know when we've been there, is that often the shops would have these lovely kind of metal awnings on the front, often with nicely carved sort of decorations on them, and that would be kind of to provide kind of almost an arcade feel, so that people could walk along without getting wet, because that's kind of the big problem of having sea bathing resorts here in the UK. You don't need to actually go in the sea to get wet on many occasions. Although I do remember when we were kids, we used to go, when we were on holiday, not here, but when we were on holiday in the East Coast, we'd go swimming in the sea sometimes, and then if it was raining, our mother would say, well, come out, it's raining. And we'd be like, Mum, we're swimming in the sea, we're not going to get any wetter if it rains. So, you know, it was all... Hello from Emily and Carol, nice to see you. So one of the things that this resort is known for, it is still a resort town. But like a lot of the resort towns in the UK, you know, affordable overseas package holidays really ripped a lot of the heart out of the local economies. And they've really struggled to kind of ever recover. So there's a lot of faded kind of grandeur you almost feel in a lot of these resort towns. But Llandudno has done better than most in maintaining something of its look and its charm from former times, I think. There's a beautiful town centre church. The original St. Tidno's church that the town is named after is actually about over 2 miles from the modern town centre. It's kind of on the other side of the hill, on the other side of the Great Orme. So when the town sort of grew up here, they decided, oh, we need a church in the town centre. So in the 1870s, the Mostyn family said, okay, hands in pockets time, let's build a church in the centre of town, right on Mostyn Street. And so this church, Holy Trinity Church, opened in 1874, and it's since then become kind of the main parish church for the town, the main Church of England parish church for the town, although there are various other kind of churches and religious buildings here. Of course, there's a Catholic church, there's a synagogue, I think there's a mosque, there's a Buddhist temple, and there are a lot of non-conformist churches as well, the Baptists and Methodists and so on. The non-conformist denominations, they were very, very strong traditionally in Wales. They had a lot in these small kind of working communities. They really kind of attracted a big following. They intended to be called chapel. That would be, as opposed to church, they would be chapel. This is a beautiful building. And yeah, Beatrice, like those little towers with the little, well, they look a bit like crosses, but they're not. They're more like the Gothic kind of flourishes, floral type designs. So you look on the far side of the street here and you can see these are all 1800s, the buildings, middle to late 19th century, and they have this arcading so people can walk along without getting wet. And it's pretty nice these days because it also means if you have a coffee shop, they can have some nice outside tables that are covered over, very pleasant. So people started to come here. You had that kind of perfect combination for developing a resort. You had the location on the coast, and you'll see when we get up onto the promenade how lovely the setting of the town is. And you had someone with the money and the desire to develop a resort in the shape of the Mostyn family. And the other thing that made a big difference here, this town is very close to one of the main coaching routes along the northern coast of Wales, and that was the main coaching route that came all the way up from London through the Midlands to the port of Holyhead on Anglesey for boats to Ireland. So it was one of the most developed and most frequently used transportation routes in the whole of the UK, and it runs just inland from where we are now, so it was easy for people to get to. And of course the other thing that happens just as the resort is developing is that the railways come, and when the railways come, it means people can come here from much further away, much more easily, and it also democratises travel. It enables working class people to come. Maybe they didn't come here for a holiday to stay, but they might come here for a day trip, you know, either maybe organised by their employers, maybe organised by a church group or something else in their community. But you know, so you had all of this perfect kind of combination of things all happening at the same time. Susan, yes, I've been on the Holyhead to Island Ferry as well. It's Beatrice. Is it a big town? It's got just over 20,000 permanent inhabitants. But obviously in the summertime it has a lot of people staying here for holidays as well. So it's a decent sized town. I mean, now one of the families that did come here regularly, that had a holiday house here in the middle of the 19th century, was a family called the Liddell family from Oxford. The father was the head of Christ Church College, and they used to come up here for their summer holidays, and one of the members of that family, one of the daughters, became very well known because a chap by the name of Lewis Carroll used to tell her and her sister stories, and she featured in those stories as the main character in the stories. So Alice Liddell of Alice in Wonderland fame spent summer holidays here as a child, and so the town does celebrate that, and they have various sculptures of characters from Alice in Wonderland, such as the White Rabbit here, these wooden sculptures. They have a whole Alice trail around the town. We'll see a couple of them on this particular tour today, but yeah, he is a fantastic, and it's nice to see these kind of sculptures carved out of wood rather than they're often fiberglass or metal or something like that. So this little area here was one of the first kind of gardens. These days it's not much of a garden, but it's called Northwestern Gardens. The hotel just across the way, it's called the Castle Hotel, and on the other side of the junction, modern buildings now, but there was a hotel there called the Northwestern Hotel. And that's what the Northwestern Gardens were named after. And this was end of town became developed because of the railway. The railway station is very close to here, just around the corner. But you look around here and you've got a lot of these lovely late 19th century buildings. And you can see the way that it kind of developed over the years. You've got the Broadway Hotel, look over there, you can see that was from the corner. It's a 19th century building, but it was remodelled, the corner, in this kind of Art Deco style in the 20s, 30s, you know, that they were modernising to have the latest fashions in architecture, and you know, they were still catering for a lot of quite high-end guests at that time. So let's cross over the road here. I shall cross safely. So yeah, that is a lovely Llandudno Castle Hotel. It's you can see that's been really lovely renovation. It's a Premier Inn now, so one of the big hotel chains in the UK, but you know, they often are known for modern hotels, but they do from time to time sort of take over older hotels, including some quite sort of iconic properties, and they've really made a great job of renovating the old Llandudno Castle Hotel there. So let's turn off Mostyn Street. And let's head up to the promenade and the beach. It's a very posh Premier Inn, isn't it, Leslie? I'm sure the bedrooms are the same as in all the Premier Inns, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because they do have a very nice, usually have very nice comfortable beds. This one, it's their big kind of advertising, is that you have comfortable beds. So look at these. We have a combination. You've got Starbucks, a major international chain, but next to it you've got this lovely kind of independent shop, Maisie's chocolate shop, but all kind of in this same style. These lovely carved arcading and the lovely beautiful shapes of the shop fronts. So the main shopping street, Mostyn Street, runs parallel to the promenade and the seafront, and the location of the town is a little bit strange because it's kind of on a little bit of a peninsula, right on the northwestern, so at the top of Wales at the northwest. So the main kind of beach and close to the centre of the town is called the North Shore, and then you go across about a 10-minute walk from where we're going to sort of finish today's tour, and you'd be on the other side, which is actually on an estuary, and that's called the West Shore. That's the place for sunsets, but a bit too cloudy I think today to get a good sunset maybe, but I wouldn't want to try and organise a tour just for a sunset when you don't know if you're going to get one or not. But the West Shore is the place for them. So the town itself is located in a huge sort of sweeping bay, and you have the Great Orme is a huge limestone outcrop at one end, and at the other end you have another smaller one which is called imaginatively the Little Orme. So we'll see those in a moment as we cross, but we get across to the seafront here to the promenade, and here's the sea, here's the Irish Sea. Lots of wind turbines out there you might be able to spot on the horizon. You know, it's making good use. People don't necessarily like the look of them, but you know, we have a very good resource of coastal winds around this island. Lovely to use them. And this is the bay here. So this is the Little Orme you can see at the far end of the bay, and then you come down here and you have this long promenade with these different colours of plasterwork, but the thing they all have in common is they were all developed in the 19th century as pretty much as hotels, some of them houses that wealthy families could rent, but mainly as hotels. And let's just give you the sweep of the entire bay there around to the Great Orme there. That's the way we're going to head. But as we come back this way, got one of the biggest hotels, was called the Hydro, and just beyond that there's the town's main theatre, which is these days called Venue Cymru, which means Venue Wales, and they've got to replace the older theatre with a modern one. But yeah, it has been a lovely day today for getting for photos. We took some lovely shots earlier on, and the sky is wonderful for today with the very atmospheric clouds. So there's the sea. The tide is out at the moment. It was in approximately to where the first strip of sand you can see was in there. It was high tide at lunchtime. But we'll make our way along a little bit. Now there's one thing we have to be careful of here in Llandudno, and anyone who's been here, or most seaside resorts are a little bit like this, but here they're particularly notorious, and that's the gulls. The gulls here are notorious. Look at these people sitting there. Maybe they've been having a little snack, or the gulls think they have. The gulls are going to be well, they're okay, they're just asking for food, but they are notorious here for swooping down and grabbing it. I know for a fact that Emma's in the chat, she has had an ice cream snatched by a gull here. Sally Jane has had an ice cream snatched by a gull. My sister-in-law Teresa has had her cheese sandwich snatched by a gull here. So very, very famous for the gulls. I'm a little bit worried because I'm thinking to a greedy and greedy gull on the prowl, Yeah, just sweeping down and having the whole lot out of your hand. Yeah. I'm a little bit worried that they might mistake my gimbal for an ice cream cone. So if I was suddenly fighting one off, or if the picture suddenly has a lot of sky and I suddenly disappear, then you know what's happened. Yeah, so these are the young gulls, the young herring gulls. Much more drab in colour when they're young, sort of brown and white. Alright, not going to hurt you. And then when they get a bit older, they look like what we might imagine, the white and grey. Absolutely, Susan, fish and chips. And whenever you buy anything, they warn you about them. When we went for lunch earlier, we had our sandwiches to eat at the place, but people in front of us were buying some food to take away, and the girl who was serving, she warned them about the gulls. So this is a lovely promenade. Obviously it can be used for all kinds of things, for events and festivities. They can set up various whether it's stalls or fairground rides or whatever it is on this promenade, and also have entertainments. And we've seen on tours quite a bit. We've seen Victorian era bandstands, metal and wrought iron bandstands in parks, but this is a sort of a seaside bandstand. Knows me, I can quite believe it. And so this is where the local band plays. Llandudno Town Band summer concerts, Sunday and Monday, 7:30 to 8:30. Oh, weather permitting. Deck chairs available, so people come, they sit and have a deck chair, have an ice cream, share it with the gulls, and listen to local musicians playing. It's a very traditional feature of seaside resorts. And we can see ahead of us one of the most iconic features of Llandudno as a resort, and that is the pier. We're going to be going on to the pier a little bit later. So more of these big hotels here. This afternoon we kept seeing coaches coming in and dropping off groups of people. I stayed here with a German group last summer. We stayed not here on the promenade, we stayed just around the corner. Quite a nice hotel, but Tricia, I think that would work, wouldn't it? A dog, you should keep the gulls away. Yeah, but the dog might steal your food anyway. We've got another Alice in Wonderland sculpture over here. The Mad Hatter. The White Rabbit and the Mad Hatter. It is, Leslie, isn't it? It's really lovely. There's loads of space and there's parking as well. I mean, you have to pay for it, but you know, there's public parking along the road here, and plenty of space to sit and to walk for cyclists. You know, you're not feeling like you're going to get knocked over by cyclists or anything like that. It's plenty of space for everybody. So here's the Mad Hatter. Isn't he great? He's having his tea party. Well, that's a good pot of tea. I'd like one that size. I was talking about my sister-in-law having her cheese sandwich stolen. She loves tea. She'd like a teapot that size. He's pretty cool. We've got a whole variety of different flags from around Europe. We've got the Polish flag, Irish, Ukrainian, English. Not very often you see the English flag flying in Wales. And the French tricolour I can see just behind me. And of course, in many, many places we have the Welsh flag, the dragon as well. He looks quite, yeah, for a Mad Hatter, he looks, mind you, he's had his tea now, you see, he might be, you know, we English, you know, and we're all a bit crazy till we get our tea. When we get our tea, we're all right then, you know. Oh, here's a go. And these little shelters are also very typical at seaside resorts. Just little shelters, some of them with benches in, looking out to sea, looking inland, so you're a bit sheltered from the wind. And you know, you would find traditionally a lot of the working class people who come to the seaside. It was back in the day when men used to really dress up, and they would come and they would wear a suit and tie. And if they were feeling really relaxed in their holidays, they might loosen their tie a little bit, and then they would kind of have the knotted handkerchief and put it on their head to protect it from the sun. And they would be sitting in these sort of shelters in their shirt and tie, enjoying their precious days off from work. Now across the road is one of the bigger hotels, the St George's Hotel, which was also the first of the major hotels to be built here. So it's kind of really central in this promenade area, and that's kind of because it was the first one, and then the things grew outwards from there in both directions, and it was built by the it was built by a local man who was a landlord of one of the inns here, and he supposedly he wanted to build a hotel, but obviously you had to rent the land from the Mostyn family estate. But apparently the land agent here for the Mostyn family, so the person who was really kind of responsible for looking after their lands here in and around Llandudno, he had run up a bit of a bar bill at this guy's tavern, and so they came to a deal. So he basically signed off on the landlord being able to have a hotel built here, in return for writing off his debts, his personal debts, not the Mostyn family debts, his personal debts, the land agent. So it's the St George's Hotel, and he was that's how the landlord apparently came to build it. And St George's Hotel, but with the Welsh flag flying outside it. Isn't that great? The Welsh flag is pretty cool, isn't it? There's no other way to describe it, with the white and green and the dragon on there. You see, people in the UK, they always used to talk about the Costa del Crime, of all of the gangsters and the bank robbers going to Spain to escape the law. But actually, you don't need the Costa del Crime. You've got some of the most opportunistic and dangerous robbers and bandits right here, and all these herring gulls that are flying around. So I know what we should do. Let's go on the beach, shall we? Here we go. I'm not going right down to the sea, it's a little bit too far out. I'm going to go down on the beach. Nice dry bit of sand here. When we get onto the bit where the sea's been, which is always easy to walk on. Soft sand, you always feel like you've walked 10 times as far as actually have. It's one of the best workouts you can have. But yeah, lovely. Looking back at the hotels. Looking back that way as well, around the bay. A lot of English people who go to the beach, you know, should know anytime the temperature gets into positives. I don't know what, you know, people would still be down here, I think, as long as it's not raining. People would be coming down here, and I should make a sandcastle. I don't have my bucket and spade with me, and I'm not going to do it by hand because I don't want to do too much with the sand. I don't want to get sand in the mechanism of the gimbal. That might I feel like the sand and a gimbal's very delicate mechanism are not going to be a good mixture. So let's just stay upright, shall we? Oh, black seagulls, or jackdaws as we might call them. Leslie, the sea had frozen. Wow. I can believe that in the channel, in the English Channel. Yeah. Don't think it's going to happen in the Irish Sea so much. Yeah, Sam, you're absolutely right. I think that'd be one of the. Might even be worse than water. That might. They can usually cope with a little bit of water, but I think sand could be. I could go for a swim. Well, I could be. I'm fully clothed, so that could be a. So this ramp here, this is where the lifeboat is launched from, if necessary. They have a very unique situation here in Llandudno, because usually when you have a lifeboat, the lifeboat is kind of directly on the promenade, so you can go straight down into the sea. But Llandudno's lifeboat is about half a mile from the beach, the main beach. But that's because they have the two coastlines, so it has to cover both sides. So it's actually built, the lifeboat station is built halfway along the road that connects the North Shore and the West Shore. And so they pull it behind like a tracked vehicle, or like a tractor thing, to whichever end it's needed. I think they have actually a couple of boats now. They've had a lot and some expanded the lifeboat presence here. Dawn, absolutely. I will at some stage in the weekend. Well, put it this way: if the tide had been in, I would have had a little paddle on the tour. But I'm walking all the way down across the rocks and things that I might trip over to get to the sea. I don't think I've ever seen frozen sea. I must admit, I've seen many things, but I don't know. No, I've seen canals and rivers frozen, lakes, but well, must have really been something. Oh, I'm quite pleased with myself. I've walked across all of these stones. And I've not tripped up so far. I've not slipped. I've not done anything untoward. I've not got sand in the gimbal. You tell that Leonie that I'm not as clumsy as sometimes we'd have you believe. Right, as always. I do need to warn you ahead of time. As we come round onto the pier, towards the pier, there will be a few places that are playing music, so I will need to mute so that I don't get into trouble with having this tour on YouTube. They don't like it, as we know. Having music on there, depending on how sharp the particular owners of the rights are on preventing unauthorised use. They, if it's not too loud, I'll talk over it, and it's generally okay. But I know from earlier there's a couple of places where that I will need to mute it. So don't be surprised when sound disappears. You're not missing anything. Now this is the town's main war memorial, cenotaph, and the obelisk here was installed and dedicated in 1922 to the people from the town who lost their lives in World War One, and then they subsequently added to it memorial stones, dedications for World War One, the first one, and World War Two they added later. 1922, World War One, they added the dedications for World War Two after the end of the war, then in the 40s, and it's obviously the centre point for all of the remembrance commemorations. And when I said there's a road that links the two shores, the North Shore and the West Shore. It's the road straight ahead of us, and it's probably about 3/4 of a mile long, maybe, if that, maybe half a mile long. Yeah, it only takes about 10 minutes or so to walk it, so probably just over half a mile. And that's the West Shore, which faces out onto the estuary of the River Conwy. There are more hotels here, and then we've got the huge sort of remembrance garden here with the huge poppy. It's commemorating those who made the ultimate sacrifice in World War II. And a lot of commemorations, of course, this summer, as everywhere, with VE Day in May, and then VJ Day, Victory over Japan, just last month. Now this has always been kind of the area where all of your traditional seaside amusements and entertainments have been located. So you kind of have mainly the hotels going around the bay there along the front and into the town. You've got your shopping and places to eat and drink. But here, this is where you'd always had sort of music, outdoor performances, and the van there that's now shut up with the gulls on top of it, that was the traditional Punch and Judy show. These puppets that I hated. Punch and Judy, I don't like puppets. I didn't like any puppet type shows or anything, but I found Punch and Judy particularly scary when I was a kid. So I'm gonna mute for a moment because I'm coming into some musical area. So I'm past the loudest. Now, I saw this earlier here in the amusement arcade. Remember the film Big? Is it something like that, isn't it? That turns Tom Hanks into a grown man, isn't he? Isn't he some fortune teller, arcade fortune telling machine like this? This one's Zoltar. He was talking earlier, and nobody put any money in him. Typical of these shutting up now. So let's go on to the first bit of the pier. It's kind of a continuation of the roadway, but then we get onto the proper wooden pier very shortly. It is the pier was built in the 1870s, and that was, you know, when these resorts were opening, it was a very, very fashionable thing. And it was later extended, and it's 700 metres long, which makes it the longest in Wales, not the longest in the UK. I believe Southend Pier is the longest. But okay, so I've got past the latest loud music bit. And the good thing here is not only do we have the lovely attractions of the pier, not all of which are open. It's kind of the first week after the end of the school holidays, the first week after the main season. But look, there's the whole bay as you come around from the Little Orme to the promenade here. Sam, I think most of the stuff here stays open until probably quite late in the evening in the main season. This time of year, I'm not so sure. Most of the shops at the moment, only about half of them were open today. I think they'll be open in the weekend, over the weekend again at the moment in September, but not in the week. But this is a lovely. And the other thing is as well. Let me pan back round again. I don't know if you can see. Just behind the buildings there, you can start to see some of the big hills, and you don't have to go very far inland from here to be literally in the mountains. So you've got the, I was going to say Snowdonia National Park, but it has now been officially renamed by its Welsh name, the Eryri National Park. You know, you can be here on the beach, and then you can jump in the car for 45 minutes, and then you can be up on, you know, on the little railway going up the highest peak in Wales. So it's you know, you have that real brilliant combination. It's I think one of the reasons that North Wales has remained very popular as a visitor destination, because you have that real good combination of the traditional kind of seaside places, but you also have the outdoors. You have the beautiful scenery, you have the outdoors, the adventure sports and all of that, those kind of things up in the national park. Now the Grand Hotel, you know, at one time this was one of the top hotels in the town, in this prime position here. Very much. It is still a hotel, but obviously no longer one of the nicest ones in the. I didn't want to upset anybody by having the proper pasty and pie shop. Beatrice, how high is the highest peak? Well, I mean, in Switzerland it would just be like a little bump in the road. How high is Snowdon? That's a. I can't remember off the top of my head. I cannot remember how high it is. And Sam might correct me, but I believe that Ben Nevis, which is the highest in the UK, is about 1,400 metres. But the highest in Wales is, well, obviously less than that. But so yeah, a little hill in Switzerland. Yeah, there is some great wildlife around here, Gerald. You get a lot. You can often see jellyfish actually from the pier. I'm not going to leave my gimbal out over the side. You cannot, it's not, when the tide is in, and the water here is a bit deeper, you can often see jellyfish in the summer. Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, I was going to say probably about 1100, so I Midfish 1085. Uwithfa. I remember, Claire, you sent me the official pronunciation guide when last time I did a tour to that part of the world. I do love. I love the pier. Look, something cool about piers. Yeah, it is great, but it's kind of a strange pier because it doesn't really go out. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really go out into the sea. It does a bit later, but it kind of runs, because of the shape of the land. It kind of runs along parallel to the land, and then kind of does a sort of a dog leg and goes out to sea a bit. And of course, back in the day when they first had the pier, people might actually travel here by boat, or they might go on a pleasure cruise, and the steamboats would pull up. It was one of the purposes of the pier. The steamboats would pull up right at the end, and they'd be able to moor there, and people would be able to get on and off, you know. So if people were coming, say, out here for a holiday from Liverpool, one of the nice, you know, the nice way you could do that, you could be centre of Liverpool on the boat, out of the Mersey estuary, and you'd come along the coast, along here, and you'd come into here, and you know, it would be actually not that long a trip. Do the slide. Oh, it's closed. I was going to buy a donut, but the donut shop's closed. Oh, that's what I like to see. Traditional souvenirs. Our mother had some of these. Yeah. Yeah, Mum had some of them. Yeah, but just like that one there. One on the mantelpiece when we were kids, like that. I distinctly recall. The Hydro Hotel. Yeah, it is still a nice one.
You definitely would have been to one. There's one. I wonder if there's one.
Yeah, so now we're going over the.
So now they're having their own mixes.
Wendy, yeah, I can see the water through the gaps in the planks here. And now we've got water on both sides, just about. So there's the Great Orme. And the Great Orme is known for a few things. It still has some of the ancient copper mines up there, and you can visit some of the mine workings. It has a kind of a tram thing that goes up to the top. It has a cable car, but it also has a tram that goes right from the centre of the town up to the top of the Great Orme, and there's kind of a visitor centre up there and a cafe and so on. You can walk up there as well. It's a bit strenuous, but pretty nice. The other thing that you're likely to see up on the Great Orme, and sometimes down in the town as well, is the Llandudno goats. There are numerous Kashmiri goats that live up on the Great Orme. And they all descended from a pair of goats that were presented to Queen Victoria by the Shah of Persia back in the day, and she gave these. I mean, what did Queen Victoria want with a pair of goats? She gave them to Lord Mostyn, who owned all the land round here, because she thought, well, you know, the Welsh kind of landscape is a little bit better suited for Kashmiri goats than anywhere that she was living. And so she gave them to Lord Mostyn, and they sort of released them onto the Orme, and well, they have from that pair they now have a good population, and they kind of became a little bit sort of online famous during the lockdown times, because nobody was going out, everything was absolutely still, and the goats were coming down and wandering around the centre of town. They came down off the Orme. They do occasionally anyway, especially like at night time, but and out of the main visitor season. But they were just wandering around. I know we have. I don't know if Nikki and Dee have managed to come on the tour today. They said they were going to, but they were living here at the time, and we were on a Zoom call with Nikki, and she said her mum said, "Those goats are eating our roses," and in their garden. She took the computer out, and on the Zoom call we could see the goats had climbed over the wall. They were in the garden eating the roses and the other shrubs and things in the garden. They were wandering around, so they became pretty well known for, I think you saw it in a lot of places where you had these the animals coming down to make the most of the fact that humans were not allowed to go out and about too much. Lovely. Oh, this is nice. This is nice and quiet. Part of the pier is very peaceful. You could sit here and just chill out, read a book, just have the sound of the sea a little bit, sound of the birds. If you had a snack, they might be a bit too close, the birds. But these little shops, stuff for your pets here. Look. And there's also a road that goes all the way around the bottom of the Great Orme called the Marine Drive, and it's a toll road and they have to pay to drive along it, but it was closed today. We saw a sign, it said it was closed due to a rockfall. So I don't think anyone was harmed by it, but still, it's you expect so many rockfalls this time of year, maybe, but a huge chunk of limestone, and you can really pan around here. You really get that lovely view as you go around the bay, round to the Little Orme. And there you can really, I think as we look that direction, you can really start to see the hills heading up towards the mountainous areas, just within a few miles of the coast as they start up. Goats push the rocks. Oh, I can imagine them, Tish, can't you? You can imagine them with their horns shoving it along and like, oh, I nearly got him. 5 points to you. Yeah, the sea's beautiful, isn't it? Very, very peaceful. So I think I'm going to bring the tour to a close here, because this is such a lovely spot to finish, just with the looking back along everywhere we've walked. Sure, that's brilliant. Probably thought it was something edible. Well, for a seagull it might have been edible, but it was probably disappointed when it discovered it was a sandal, just as one would be if it thought my gimbal was an ice cream cone. So I'm going to flip my camera back, and I can have a little look at the screen. So it's been absolutely lovely. It has gone fast, hasn't it? I can't believe it. And it's just been lovely to have a little stroll, a little chat, and to show you some of the sights of this town of Llandudno, and maybe bring back a few memories of childhood seaside holidays and maybe more recent ones as well, and robbing wildlife as well. So thanks very much to all of you. And Beatrice has just put up on there, which link is that for? That is for the Padlet page, where you can find links to all of my stuff, recent tours. If you've missed them, you can sign up for the recordings there, and it's got all the links for all the different tours that I've got coming up. It's the best one to bookmark to keep up with everything that I'm doing. What have I got coming up? Well, I'm going to schedule some stuff when I get back. We're having a weekend up here in North Wales. I'm going to schedule a couple of tours when I get back, and also a couple of history talks as well, because I've not done any of those for a while, and I've got a nice series of history talks that I really want to share with you. So look out for those. And of course we have the wish list as well. So Beatrice is very kindly there put up the Buy Me a Coffee link, which is where the tours are listed, and the Ko-fi link as well. And if you go to my Buy Me a Coffee page, you can support me there in various ways. You can just make a one-off contribution. You can go into the wish list page and find the community funded tours like this one. And then once those pots are filled up, we will be able to do those tours. And I'll also have, I'll try and schedule some more. I've got some really nice places to show you that I've not shown you before on live tours, but there's going to be some as live tours coming up as well, because while I'm up here for the weekend, I filmed one tour this afternoon, and I'm going to be filming 2 more in the area tomorrow as well. So it's going to be 3 as live tours out of this weekend's trip. I've got a lovely Liverpool docks as live video that I've filmed, and I've got a nice Lincoln as well that I can do for you as live. So I'll have all those in the bag, and we can get those up and get those on the calendar along with the history talks. So thank you so much to everybody. Diolch, as they say here in Wales. Thank you. And hwyl fawr, that is goodbye in Welsh. You know, they say it's hard to say goodbye in Welsh. Literally, it's hard to say goodbye. Hwyl fawr. So thank you for being here, and have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you, Beatrice, for putting the links up. That's the Buy Me a Coffee if you want to support me for this particular tour. And it's been lovely to spend the last hour or so with you. Have a fantastic evening, fantastic weekend, everybody, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye for now, everybody. Wendy and David, have a wonderful trip to Rome, and see you all very soon. Thank you so much, Beatrice, for putting the links in, and for anybody else who's helped with little bits of extra information and so on. It's been lovely to have you all participating and joining in. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye for now.